What's up, guys? Hey. I'm going to ask one thing of you guys. I'm going to make sure that I can see this time. I just ask you guys to be engaged in the mornings. I'm not engaged. I am really tired. And so, like, you guys are going to be the thing that keeps me awake this morning. So that's great. I'm going to give you guys 3 vulnerability things this morning so that you guys feel like you know me. Number 1, I fell out of bed this morning. My body hurts. Scared the people that I live with. It's a really rough morning. 2, I drove around in a circle twice trying to find this school because it's in a weird neighborhood and I've never been down here before, but it's really close to a church. And number 3, you guys have a friend, his name is Nick. I felt like he was going to kill me from the path that it took me to get down to this room. So, how are we all doing this morning?
Good.
Cool. I prayed about what I was going to come and talk to you guys about. I asked Ryan and then he didn't help me, so I was like, all right, I'll go to God. That should be my first one. But he told me to talk to you guys about choices, so I just want to tell you guys a story. I grew up on the West Coast, so I'm not from here. This is all new to me. Weather's new to me. Country is new to me. I'm a city boy, so I'm getting adjusted here. But I grew up in like foster care. So when I was, let's say 7, my brothers, I'm 4 of 6, number 4 of 6, and then the young, there's a lot of them. And then the youngest 3, we were like split up into foster care. And so I moved around to lots of different homes and lots of different things, but the element of choices was introduced to me at a really young age. At the age of 10, like how old were you guys in this room? Like 12, 13, 14? Okay, cool. So younger than you guys are now. I was in a home with a man that did very bad things. So in the city that I was from, he was notorious for like selling drugs or like gang violence or just all of these different things. But his wife was a social worker, so the way that it worked, it was weird. But I was living there and I was introduced to all these things that like at my age you shouldn't be introduced to. So I found myself in a situation where I was like selling drugs or like whatever, and mind you, I'm 10. So during the duration of me living here, there was just like lots of things that I seen that like affected the way that I look at the world. I remember there was one day this lady came in, and like she was super dressed, like nice, and she smelled super sweet. And like most of the people that came in from where I lived, like they didn't smile at you, and you knew that they weren't supposed to be there, but she was different. I remember the first day she came in, she walked in, and like her aroma hit me in the face, and I was just like, wow, who's that woman? Like she's super nice, and I don't know why she's here. And then she looked at me and she smiled, and I was like shocked by it because like no one had really smiled at me before. She came up to me and she said, "You're gonna be okay." And then like I seen her for a couple weeks, and then after that she disappeared. And so a couple weeks later, the person that I was living with came by, and he was like, "Hey, somebody owes me money, and I want you to take care of it." And I was just like, I don't know what that means, but you're being weird, and so no. I went to school that next day, and I was trying to get in as much trouble as I can. My 10-year-old logic didn't work because you get in trouble, you get sent home. If you want to stay somewhere, you're good. I didn't know that. So I got in trouble, and they sent me home. So I remember being at home, and he came and he found me, and he said, "Hey, later on tonight, we're going to go take care of that thing that I was telling you about. There's something under your pillow." And so I was just like freaking out. My hands are sweating. I can't breathe. I remember hiding in the closet for like a good period of time. He came and found me later, was like, "Hey, grab what's under your pillow and let's go." So I'm sitting there, and it was like the life, like everything moved. Hey ladies, how you guys doing? And gentlemen, I just want to say hi. I saw you guys kind of, he threw the fist up at me, I'm sorry. So comes in, and I'm like walking to my pillow, and it was like slow motion. It was like a movie. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what I'm about to do. Pick up my pillow, and there's a guy. And so I'm like, literally in this moment, I don't know how to feel. I don't know what to do. So I pick it up, and it's like the heaviest thing that I've ever held in my life. We get in the car, and we drive for what feels like forever. It's probably like 30, 45 minutes. We pull up to this house. He tells me, "You're gonna go along the side of the house. When you get into the backyard, her back door's open. Once you get inside, you'll know what to do." So I'm walking, and it's like in those movies where you know how like things just like get really long and it goes on forever. That's how it feels as I'm walking down the side of this house. I get into the backyard, and I look into the window, and the lights are on, and there's this lady, and she's holding her 2-year-old son. And like, I can't see her, so right now all I see is her back and her son, and like he's all smiley and things, and then she turns around, and I realize it's the lady that like came and smiled at me. And I was like, what am I doing here? And this was like a realization moment for me being 10 of just like, I don't know what to do. Like, I was stressed out, and I was young, and I was afraid. I remember sitting there and deciding like, in this moment I have a choice. My mom used to tell me all the time, she was like, life is made up of choices, and each choice you make has a consequence. It could be a good one or it could be a bad one, but that's going to be up to you. And so I remember thinking about this, and I'm like, who is this choice affect right now? And there was 3 people. It was going to affect me, it was going to affect her, and it was going to affect her son. And then there was a multitude of people that I didn't even know she was connected to that it would have also affected, depending on how that story played out. So I remember burying the gun in her backyard, hopping the alley, and running for as far as I could run. A couple days later, the police found me, took me back to our foster home, and I was there until my grandmother came and got custody of my brothers and sisters. The reason that I felt like the Lord kind of put me through that scenario, the more that I pray about it and the more that I like realize is that like choices are important. Like in that moment, her choice to smile at me when she came in was something that helped me notice her. Her choice to like, or my choice, I guess, to say that like I was gonna go in and take care of whatever it was that like he wanted me to do was gonna be a really big choice. The way that we live our lives here, not only in school, not only with our friends, not only with our families, like they present the opportunity for people to choose Jesus. And so we live differently. And I think the thing that I want to challenge you guys with this morning is like, how are you guys living differently? How is the way that you guys are living presenting the opportunity for somebody to choose something other than the world? Does that make sense? Like for me, I had to think about, in this sense, how am I living that's going to give her the opportunity to see something different? I think when she came in, she gave me the opportunity to see kindness in someone. She gave me the opportunity to see purity, whether like I knew what her intentions were there or not. And for you guys, I think it's important, especially at this age, to realize that like how you guys live, the choices that you guys make now shape everything. If I had someone at this age pouring into me, I'm pretty sure that a lot of the struggles, a lot of the things that I walked through in life could have been minimized. But I made lots of I made lots of bad decisions and lots of bad choices, but I also didn't have anyone, bless you, guide me. Sorry, it's like a habit. And so the importance of choices, I think, especially the one where you get to choose Jesus, it holds so much weight. And I think that like leaving here, I remember being a kid and being in school and like, I don't know if it's like this here, but on the West Coast, it was very different. Like people were, bless you, were friendly to a fault, but then also like really mean. So it was like either one side of the spectrum. So you had kids that were like, hey, how you doing? Like, do you want to sit with me at lunch? And then you had the kids that were like, let's fight because I don't like the way you just looked at me. And so I had to like, I was like, I don't know how to do this. Like, I don't know how to be someone that will exemplify Jesus. And at that age, I didn't really care. You guys are here, and I think that you guys have all kind of consciously made decisions because it's FCA. So I think like you guys have all made the decision of like, this is the life that I'm choosing to live. This is the representation that I want to have on the world. And so leaving from here, the choices that you make, the way that you treat people, the words that you say, the interactions that you have, say a lot about who you are as a person. But it's not only you. I think the most important part about that is it says a lot about who you represent. And so for me to come here this morning, who I'm representing is not Southeast Christian Church or like Jacoby's family or like Ryan's best friend, like none of those things. What I represent is Jesus. And so the best way for me to do that is to come here and to explain, I think, the choice that I made in choosing to live for him, but also coming to share like just things that he's walked me through. And so just one thing, if you guys hear nothing else that I said today, is like being conscious of choices that we're making today. Who can you talk to that you haven't talked to today? Who can you sit with that like you normally ignore? Who can you make a point to go and say, hey, I want to be your friend? What teacher can you encourage today for pouring into you every day at this time in the morning? Which should be illegal. I'm just going to say that now. There are many things that you guys can do that I think that will show Jesus through you and that will encourage the people that you're around. Even if it's just a smile. Smiles are important to you. And I think the last thing that is with is for you guys to look around this room. Like, each person in here has made a decision. Each person in this room has decided, like, hey, this is what I want to do. And encouraging these people helps you as well, because these are the people that you come back to. These are the people that you fall back on. It's like, hey, I'm having a rough time, and like, I totally got like shut down by this one kid. Like, I was like, hey, I want to sit next to you. And he was like, no, you're not cool enough. And these are the kids right here that you look at and you're like, yo, can you pray for me? Because I'm having a rough day. I had to find people that were going to encourage me to be the better version of myself rather than the people that like look for the bad because that was cool. And so don't underestimate the power of friendships in this room, the power of family, the power of unity in Christ here, because that's going to be a super like great asset for you guys moving forward, especially in the world that like thinks that this is not cool, especially in the world that thinks that this is not fine. But don't give up that choice to be the outcast. We're walking with our middle schoolers through that, of like an outcast going after the outcast. And so even remembering just the fact that like what I do matters, the decisions that I make matter. I think it takes you guys a long way. So let me pray for you guys, and then you guys went down real fast. Okay. I was like, yeah, let me pray. You were like, cool. All right. Well, God, thank you so much for laughter. I thank you that we just get the opportunity to do something cool like this, that we can sit around in a room and talk about just the cool things that you do in our lives. I'm fully aware that this is not a norm in different countries, that people doing this, their lives are on the line or are at stake, or they're being killed for things like this. And so I'm super grateful that I get the opportunity to just talk about it. God, would you continue to challenge the students in this room, the people in this room? Would you open their ears and their eyes and their hearts today to opportunities to exemplify you in a better way? God, would you remind us of the fact that we make choices every day, and each choice that we make, God, it shows you or it pushes people away. And so would we be people that show you? Would we be good stewards of this life that you've given us to just love people well? I'm excited about every person in this room and the hearts that you've placed in them, because I know that you have a purpose. I know that you are not a God that is confusing and just like all over the place, but that every person here, every like meeting that we have, this one here was ordained by you. And so would you continue to use us in powerful ways and in mighty ways? We just love you, and we just, again, are just grateful for another day of life. Would you just remind us and show us something cool about you today that we've never seen? We love you, we thank you, we praise you. All this in your son, Jesus' name. Amen. Thanks for having me.
Hey. Don't pause this yet. Got a minute.